The first thing you need to do is download the tools using the appropriate link on this video page. Go ahead and pause me while it downloads. I'll wait. Real quick, before we do anything, you might be wondering where you would get these tools from on your own. There's an Android developer site that has all sorts of great information about designing and developing Android apps. We will visit this site over and over again throughout this and the rest of our Android courses. But if we come here, developer.android.com, we can click on Develop here in the top. And then on this next page, when it loads, we can click on Tools. So this brings us to the tools we need to develop Android applications. On the left here are links for Eclipse, but like I said, we are not using Eclipse as that is being replaced by Android Studio. So even though this is a beta, we can click on Get Android Studio Beta and scroll down and download what we need for our own computers. But remember, as I mentioned before, if you want your tools to match exactly what I'm using in these videos, make sure that you use the links below the video. Those links are the exact tools that I'm using here. Okay, so you need to download two files, one for Android Studio and one for Java. Installing Java is our first step. Now, you may already have Java installed on your computer, but if you don't know or you aren't sure, there's a quick way to check. Now, we need the full developer version of Java, which you also may not have, so this is a good check to run no matter what. So we need to open a command prompt. I have a shortcut down here, but let me show you how to get to it in Windows 8 in case you haven't done this before. So we can use the handy Windows search tool. One way to bring it up is to just go to the top right corner and it pops over from the right side. I'm going to click on search and then start typing command prompt. C-O-M, there we go. And then just hit enter to load it. Okay. So the command we want to type is Java C space dash version, just like this. Hit enter and it shows that it doesn't recognize it because I don't have Java installed on this computer. All right, so let me show you how to install Java if you haven't done this before. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my downloads. Oh, and I want to point out I'm downloading the 64-bit version of Java. Now, you'll need to check your computer to see if you need the 32-bit or the 64-bit version. Let me show you how to do that as well. Here in Windows Explorer, you can right-click on your computer and go to Properties. And here in the System section, we have the System type. And here it says 64-bit operating system. So this will tell you if you're running either the 32-bit version of Windows or the 64-bit. Okay, so now I can run this 64-bit version, which is just a straightforward installer. I'm not going to do anything special. I'm basically going to accept all the defaults for the installation. So here I'm just going to click Next. I'm not going to change anything here. Again, I'll select the defaults. I'm going to install to this program files location. Click Next and let it install. Okay, once that's done, we want to click Next again. Okay, and we have successfully installed the Java SE Development Kit. All right, let's close this. Okay, the next thing we need to do is set something called an environment variable, which tells our computer where our Java is installed. That will be required for Android Studio to run as well. So if you haven't done this before, again, there are a few ways to do it. One way is to come in here again and right-click on the computer. And this time, if we go to Properties, on the left in the menu, we can select Advanced System Settings here at the bottom. Now, on this Advanced tab, which should show up automatically, we go down to the Environment Variables section. And here we can set user variables or system variables. I'm going to set mine as a system variable. So click New, and the name we want here is Java_home in all caps, just like that. Now, what variable value should we use? Well, this is the exact path that we just installed to, but you want to make sure you have the path exactly as we saw it in the installation. So let's go and open Windows Explorer again, and I'm going to open a new window. Control+N gives me a new window, because I want to navigate to my Java installation. So here I'm going to click on the local disk, and then it was in program files, if you remember that. And here is my Java. But specifically, I want the JDK that's included in here. Notice that it's JDK 1.7.0_67. The exact version doesn't matter too much. If you have any questions about this, just ask us in the forum. But you want the JDK folder, not the JRE. So if I select it here, then I can see the path up here. And if I click in here, I can get the actual path and it's highlighted. So now I can copy this. I'll just hit Control-C. Then I'll go back to my environment variables and Control-V will paste it into my value. Click OK. Click OK again. One more time, and we're out of there. Okay. So now we can try to unzip the Android Studio zip file. So I'm going to right-click on it and say Extract All. And I'm just going to extract to my Downloads folder, although feel free to change this to wherever you want to install Android Studio. It's not really an installation, more of just an unzip. Okay, Okay, now I'll click on the extract button. Now this may take a little bit of time to unzip, but just be patient. It'll finish before too long. Okay, and now that we're done, we can go into Android Studio and open it up. Okay, so from here we want to go into the bin folder. And now we can find the Studio 64. That's the executable that we want to use to start Android Studio. So you may want to make a shortcut to this right here. Right-click and select Create Shortcut. Let's rename it Android Studio. And then you can drag this into your desktop or wherever you want to use it. Now we can double-click on that to open, and here we go. We're going in. So this is just a little splash screen that starts when we load. Okay, we're in. Now, you won't have any projects showing here in the recent projects section. I had an earlier project on here when I was testing this installation. But from here, we should be set to follow along and continue with creating our project in the next video. Remember, if you had any trouble with the installation process or if you have any questions about it, head over to the Treehouse forum and take a look and see if your question has already been answered. And if not, ask a new one and we'll try to get you going. 2 more quick things before we go. The first is, as you're creating a project, one of the components in Android Studio contacts the web for information. It's called Gradle, and you may get some firewall warnings about allowing Android Studio or Gradle through your firewall to connect to the internet. So if you see those warnings, you want to make sure that you click yes. The other thing is you may also run into trouble down the road trying to add components to Android Studio, and in that case, you want to run it as an administrator. So let me exit here, and if you right-click on Android Studio, you can select Run as Administrator. That will make sure that you have all the power access that you need to run everything in Android Studio. So if you get stuck, again, head over to the forum and we'll make sure that you get the help you need. And in this case, when I run it as the administrator, it's the same thing. We come here to the welcome screen and now we can continue.